You're listening to the John and Heidi Show Bonus Hour. If you miss any of the program, you can find the podcast at the bottom of the page at sunnyradio.com.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. Coming up tomorrow, I've got a really cool event happening in the afternoon that I get to be a part of. And here's the thing, you can be a part of it too. You are invited to join us tomorrow. It's a open house at Keystone Treatment Center celebrating 50 years and over 50,000 people who have walked the path of recovery and found a whole new life, which is amazing. I've had a chance to talk to some people who have been through this program, and it literally changed their life. In many cases, probably saved their life as well. And again, I've got Eric and Jason. We're going to chat one more time today a little bit about the event that's coming up tomorrow. There's another event coming up at the end of this month, and that's actually for alumni only. And then there's another open house at the Canton location of Keystone next month. So we'll give you all those details coming up here in just a bit. Also, want to remind you, tomorrow is a Free Flag Friday from our friends at Maximum Promotions. And the reason I bring that up today is because you can register right now for your chance to win a 3x5 flag tomorrow. Somebody's going to win it. Why not you? Go to sunnyradio.com, click the Win Tickets and Other Stuff button. When you get on there, you're going to see Free Flag Friday. We do that every Friday from our friends at Maximum Promotions on West Avenue in Sioux Falls. Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday.
Give yourself a little credit.
It's more important than ever to have a better credit card. At bettercreditcards.com, we offer a variety of credit card options to fit your needs. Whether you want a card to give you cash back or a credit card to help you build your credit, we probably have it at bettercreditcards.com. That's bettercreditcards.com.
Give yourself a little credit. Go ahead and switch to bettercreditcards.com.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Excited to have some guests back in the studio. We've got Eric Miller and Jason Strickland. They're with Keystone, and we talked recently with them about the 50th anniversary of Keystone, which is amazing. And over those 50 years, the Keystone Treatment Center has been helping people, over 50,000 people directly impacted. And then we talked about the fact that that's probably hundreds of thousands of people indirectly impacted between family members, neighbors, coworkers, just people in their lives. But let's talk a little bit with Eric here. There are some really cool things that you have, some great tools that you have available to families. And that's not something that most people listening might think about. I wouldn't have thought of that. But in addition to helping the person who needs the treatment, the assistance, that you have programs that are in place specifically for the people in their life.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's very commonplace is that the last person to know that they have a problem is usually the person who has the problem.
Yeah.
It's the nature of this illness. And so, the impact on families, parents, on wives, on children is just tremendous. And alcoholism is really a family illness.
Yeah.
And the one thing about Keystone over the decades is that I think we approached everything from that standpoint in terms of we cannot neglect the family. And I think a lot of times the unwillingness of an individual to admit, number one, that they have an issue, but let alone, number two, that I want to do something about it, sometimes seems like, well, we're at kind of a dead end.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. Gladly, it's not the case. There's a multitude of resources and support mechanism, other families that are experiencing the same thing that can provide not only just the connection, not being alone. I think that's part of what we talked about before is isolation, that they're not alone and that other people understand. But on top of that is just the resources. Again, alcoholism, it's not a respecter of, I don't care, money, title. And I think that if you really, I've never sat down with an individual, whether they had an issue with this at all, that didn't have a family member, that didn't have a friend, that didn't have somebody in their neighborhood, somebody at work that they were deeply concerned about and invested in. And that sense of powerlessness, the same powerlessness that an alcoholic or a drug addict feels, about choices in life does directly impact the family and those around folks. And so, I mean, Keystone, Jason could talk a little bit more about some of the support programs we have in Sioux Falls and that him and his team are developing. But we don't want to neglect the family.
Yeah.
And we're here for you. And I think that not everybody approaches it from that end. And I think that's what makes Keystone kind of special and different, is that we do care.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we've been taught that we're not in a vacuum, and it does impact communities. It impacts families, it impacts communities, it impacts employers in the active use, and then in recovery, they all get impacted in a positive way too.
Yeah.
I was a much better employee when I was sober than I was in the throes of my active addiction, even though I tried to hide it very well. I thought I really had it managed. I always thought about what I didn't lose, and that's what kept me from really admitting that I had a problem. But it wasn't until I was presented with the evidence, and a question that I learned in recovery was, well, what's the evidence? I say I'm about this stuff.
Yeah.
I say I'm a good dad or a good husband. Well, what's the evidence? I'm saying I'm honest.
Yeah.
What's the evidence?
Absolutely.
And that dishonesty, that isolation, which was the perfect prime environment, fertile ground for dishonesty, I couldn't break through that until I had somebody that suggested a different way. So for families, what we've got available right now is we've got a Zoom meeting that happens every week for Keystone alumni. Contacting us, we can get you in touch with our family program director. And we're starting to have in-person meetings with family at the outpatient location at 3800 Kiwanis, South Kiwanis, and we're starting that this month, and really look forward to having other faces that we can look at so that we can see that we're not alone in this.
Absolutely.
And really what the family needs to be encouraged is taking care of themselves.
And you mentioned knowing that we're not alone. A lot of the time people feel like I'm the only one dealing with this. What you need to realize is you're not. There's a lot of people that are going through the same thing you're going through. And by having discussions with them, and especially a discussion is being led in the right way, not just a discussion, everybody benefits from that.
Right. And the truth is, we put a number on there. We've helped over 50,000 individuals, but it's just not even a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
When you look at the people that do need help
Yeah.
and aren't getting help. So we're really grateful for the people. Somehow they got to us and other places in the community.
Yeah.
Because we need everybody. There isn't enough services out there for everybody. We need everybody.
Absolutely. Again, Keystone Treatment Center celebrating 50 years. We've got the first event tomorrow. It is this Friday, the 14th, and it's from 1 till 4 p.m. This is in Sioux Falls. And if you can't make it this Friday, you can join us next month, August 18th. That's another Friday, and that is in Canton. It's also from 1 until 4 p.m. And a reminder, there is an alumni reunion, and that is coming up at the end of July. All of the details on all of this can be found at facebook.com/sunnyradio and facebook.com/Sioux Falls News.
Did you know you can allocate a percentage of your IRA to physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover? You can put your IRA back on the gold standard. Genesis Gold IRA is the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. GenesisGoldIRA.com would like to help protect your IRA today with a simple phone call. Learn more and get the phone number at GenesisGoldIRA.com. That's GenesisGoldIRA.com.
This Day in Sioux Falls History is brought to you by the Sioux Falls Fun Page and Sunny 93.3. It was on this day, July 13th, 1882, a terrible mistake is made as Sioux Falls citizens convene for the first of only 3 recorded hangings in Sioux Falls history. It was a man by the name of Thomas Egan. To keep everything rated PG, Egan was accused of killing his wife, but he adamantly denied the accusations. Throughout the trial, neighbors testified that he and his wife often fought, and a newspaper article written in the Sioux Falls Pantagraph suggested Egan was the same Thomas Egan wanted for a nearly 20-year-old murder in Minnesota. Eventually, Thomas was found guilty and sentenced to be hanged. To make matters even more tragic, the hanging was botched twice before successfully being completed. The rope broke the first time, and it was incorrectly tied the second time. Then, 45 years later, a deathbed confession by Thomas Egan's stepdaughter declared that she was actually the one who had killed her mother, and she allowed her stepfather, Thomas Egan, to hang for the crime. This Day in Sioux Falls History has been brought to you by the Sioux Falls Fun Page at SiouxFallsFunPage.com and Sunny 93.3.
How much do you pay for your cell phone every month? If that's more than $15, it's time for a Mintervention. Mint Mobile makes it affordable and easy to switch. Get a new phone or bring your current one. Whether you're a fan of iPhones or Samsung, they both work well with Mint Mobile. At Mintervention.com, you can see the current special offers from Mint Mobile, offering premium wireless for just $15 a month. That's far less than most people are paying. Just $15 a month. Learn more now at Mintervention.com.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Thursday, the 13th of July. Brought to you by GenesisGoldIRA.com. Equity markets advanced Wednesday following a cooler-than-expected CPI report. It was cooler than expected on a month-to-month and year-over-year basis and at the headline and core levels, spurring the index to advance roughly 1% at the high of the day. The bad news is that the CPI is still hot relative to the Fed's target and did little to alter the outlook for interest rates. The data caused the odds for a 25 basis point hike to increase to nearly 100%. The S&P 500 advanced Wednesday, but resistance has slowed the index's advance. The next target for strong resistance is near 4,600, which might be reached within the next few weeks. The risk for the market is that the July Fed meeting or the Q2 earning reporting cycle could cap gains. The EPS outlook continues to deteriorate, and additional interest rate hikes will do little to alter the trend. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at MarketBeatMinute.com.
Why did the chicken cross the road? To save money on insurance at InsuranceChicken.com. Do you have the best plan for you? Find out at InsuranceChicken.com. Let's face it, we don't even want insurance. We need it. But you don't need to overpay. Head over to InsuranceChicken.com to see your rates from several different companies. All available in one place at InsuranceChicken.com. The other guys have a gecko, a duck, and an emu. Why not a chicken? InsuranceChicken.com. That's InsuranceChicken.com.